How did the revolutions of 1989 relate to the Cold War? If you're curious about how the revolutions of 1989 impacted the Cold War, you're about to uncover a pivotal moment in history. Let's break it down. The Cold War was a decades-long standoff between the Soviet Union and the Western powers, particularly the United States. By the late 1980s, this Cold War landscape was on the brink of significant change. In 1989, a wave of revolutions swept through Central and Eastern Europe. It started in Poland, where workers' strikes in 1980 forced the government to negotiate with opposition groups. This led to the legalization of the Solidarity Labor Union and the first partially free elections in the Eastern Bloc in June 1989. Solidarity candidates won a majority of seats, forming the first non-communist government in Eastern Europe. Around the same time, Hungary began dismantling its section of the Iron Curtain, the physical barrier that separated Eastern and Western Europe. This move allowed thousands of East Germans to escape to the West through Hungary and Austria, creating a chain reaction that destabilized other Eastern European communist regimes. One of the most iconic moments was the fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9, 1989. The wall, which had divided East and West Germany since 1961, was a symbol of the Cold War's division of Europe. When East German authorities announced that they would allow East Germans to travel to the West, thousands gathered at the wall, and border guards eventually opened the gates. The wall was literally torn down by the people, marking a symbolic end to the division of Europe. These events were not isolated. They were part of a broader movement. In Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, and Romania, similar protests and reforms led to the overthrow of communist regimes. Romania's revolution was particularly violent, resulting in the execution of its dictator, Nicolae Ceausescu, on Christmas Day 1989. The Soviet Union, under Mikhail Gorbachev's leadership, was undergoing significant reforms with policies like glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring. However, these reforms inadvertently unleashed nationalist sentiments within the Soviet Union, leading to demands for independence from various republics. By December 1991, the Soviet Union had dissolved, marking the official end of the Cold War. The Malta Summit in December 1989, where Soviet and American leaders declared a strategic partnership, further signaled the end of the Cold War. The withdrawal of Soviet forces from Central and Southeast Europe and the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact in July 1991 were final nails in the coffin of the Soviet-dominated Eastern Bloc. In essence, the revolutions of 1989 were a catalyst for the end of the Cold War. They dismantled the communist regimes in Eastern Europe, led to German reunification, and ultimately resulted in the dissolution of the Soviet Union. This period marked a significant shift in global politics, ending the decades-long division between East and West.